Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert training. I'm your host Leandro Humada, and in this video we're going to talk about converters. So let's go to the presentation. In this video I'm going to focus only in one type of the converters, okay, which is the unit converter. So basically this converter, if we go to the full screen, this converter allows us to change the unit of a variable. So imagine in this case, I'm sharing this variable from the PLC, the percentage MF50, and on the HMI, I'm reading this variable. And imagine that the value is 22.5. So we can think of this as a temperature in Celsius, okay? And if we use this converter, okay, it allows me to change to, for example, Fahrenheit. So even if I'm reading this value as Celsius, on the HMI I can read the Fahrenheit. So basically, this converter allows you to, for example, create your own logic inside, for example, bit or control that you have inside the PLC in one range, for example, everything in Celsius. And then if you want to visualize that information instead of using or creating more logic to change how you're going to visualize that information in a different unit, you can use the converters. That is the main idea. So let's continue with this. So inside the EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert, we have different units to make the conversion. Okay, for example, we have for temperature, we have for length, we have for weight, area, pressure, and volume. Okay, we have all this stuff. More information about the volume can be found on the help. Let me just show you type of converters. Okay, if you go to the feature guides, okay, inside the help and you go to converters, you can see a little overview about what is this. If you go to unit, you can find more information about the different types that we have in order to convert. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so in order to add this converter is very simple. We just need to go to the Project Explorer, okay, and it just go to the converters. Once we are in the converters, okay, we just need to click over here and then add one of the converters. In our case, we're gonna work with the unit converter. So just select over there and the converter will be appear over there. So the next step is to configure this converter. So click on the converter. On the right side, you can see the properties, the category, the ones that we talk about. Okay, one of these converters. And then what we need to define is the unit, that the unit will change depending on the category. Then we have the option to configure the decimal places and also the unit display. This unit display allowed us to see on the screen, okay, the units that we have selected. So how we can work on this on the EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert? Okay, it's very simple. So let me just open one application, a new one here. So let me just okay, good. So let's create a new project. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to select any target, it doesn't matter. Okay, but what I'm going to do is to define the driver. I'm going to connect to one PLC that I have next to me, which is the M4.1, and I'm going to use the Modbus TCP driver. So this one would be the PLC underscore M4.1. Going to connect to the IP address 192.168.1.1.221. The equipment settings, this is correct. Addressing this, and that's it. Okay, so this one is just a configuration to connect to the PLC. So now what we need to do is to find the Project Explorer, the converter. So if we scroll down to the bottom, you can see here the converter. So we just need to click over here. See that we have all empty. So I'm going to add a new one. If you just click over here, it will add the unit, but I'm going to show you that we have difference. Okay, I'm going to use the unit. So we have this. So I'm going to use a name, convert C to Fahrenheit. This type unit, you can also change over here, but I'm going to leave it that way. So I'm going to change from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So in the category, we just need to select temperature. I'm going to select the Celsius as an input that came from the PLC and use the F for Fahrenheit. I'm going to show you this, okay, for unit display. Round off, no, I'm just gonna be leaving it there, okay, without rounding. So how we need to work on this. So what we need to do is to add a variable from the PLC. Let me just check on the PLC here. I'm connected with this M221. Okay, it's online. Let me just check. What do we have over here? Animation table. Percentage MF50. Let's see if we see something. Okay, it's in 0, and I don't think I'm using it. Just quick view over here. Memory words. 50. No, it's not in use. Okay, so we can work on this one. So I'm going to share to the HMI this variable, the percentage MF50. So if we go to our project, I'm going to use a real variable over here. So it will be temperature in Celsius. Going to be real, source PLC, the address will be percentage 50. Okay, there is a faster way in order to connect the PLC variables into this HMI. So I believe I already made another video for that. You can check it. And okay, so now a screen. So now we need to visualize the information that we have from the PLC. So we can go to the tool chest over here. Okay, to the tool chest. And now here we should be able to use the numeric display. So in this numeric display, what I'm going to do is to show you the variable that I have in Celsius. Okay, so we can work on this to show it a different way. For example, 2.1, enable the input, details. No, I'm going to leave it in that way. Okay. So now, if I Control C, Control V this one, or just go over here, copy and paste this one, create the new object. And in this one, I'm going to show you the Fahrenheit. So in order to link the object type variable with the converter, we just need to follow the same step, but let me show you. We just need to assign the variable. If we go over here, the current value, when we select the variable, okay, select the same variable that we want, but we need to add the converter over here. So on the variable selector, we just need to add the converter, select from our list of user-defined converters, the converter that we have already created. In our case, is this one. I have only one, but if you have more, you can add it. So I'm going to select OK. As you can see here, I can read and write. So for example, if you want to show a status variables and status temperature or whatever you have, you can use it, okay? But if you want to write, for example, for a set point in a PID, okay, you can define enable the input, okay? So on the HMI, you can see the visualization as Fahrenheit, but on the PLC, you will receive the Celsius. So your logic stay the same, and you don't need to do anything at all in your logic on the PLC. It's just the visualization on the HMI side, which is good. So let's continue with this. So I'll just show you here, okay, how to add the converter. And if you compare this one and this one, there is a small difference over here. So if you go into the numeric display, you can see this yellow, okay, yellow orange, okay. So you can see it's full yellow, but or orange. Here it just has a small square blank. So this indicates that it's using a converter over there. So if I go over here and let's check this, you can see it's completely yellow, orange. But if I select now once again the converter, okay, it just has a square. So this means that the variable that you are going to show on the HMI has a converter. Now, if we simulate this, simulate this one, okay, I believe it's in the other screen. Let me see. Okay, so there we go. So you have this one, which is the normal one. Okay, so imagine that I have here. Okay, let's imagine I have 22.5 Celsius. Okay, 22.5, 22.5, and let me see. I believe I forget to do something here. Decimal, integer digits, 2 here, float fix. It's not decimal, float fix. So simulate again. My bad. Okay, so now you can see that I had 22.5 Celsius. Okay, but if I want to visualize the Fahrenheit, I have this. Okay, so if I change this, let me just show you on the PLC side, have this 22.5. If I change this to 60, you can see that the value on the PLC is changed. Okay, so even if you are trying to access with Fahrenheit units, it changed the value on the PLC side, okay, in Celsius. So it doesn't affect your logic. That's the good thing over here. So this is when you have the unit display. I don't use it. Probably I should, but I don't. So if we go over here and check this one, unit display, when you simulate, you shouldn't be able to see the F. So there we go. Okay, you don't see the F. So one of the things that you can do, okay, that depends on you. So let me just put this over here. Float fix, decimal point, details. Okay, so if you go to details, okay, you have the prefix and suffix. So the prefix you can add temperature, 2 points. Okay, you can see this, and here you can add the alt Celsius. Okay, so you can see the temperature. I'm going to delete this part because I don't want it. And this one should be the space and 42 Fahrenheit. Okay, so this should be one way, or I believe much better way to see the changes. Okay, so here we can specify a string, text box, temperature. Okay, and there we go. So this should be one way to do it and see it, how it change. If you go to simulate, okay, you can use this one, 45, 90. Okay, and you can see here that the change on the PLC side, okay, it doesn't matter, it just received Celsius. Okay, so that will be one way to do it. What I want to show you is, let me see here. Okay, so imagine that you have one application and you don't want to show both of them, just one. Then you can use, for example, the visibilities. Okay, so for example, you can use this one, this toggle. Okay, and let me go to Project Explorer, select the variables. Okay, I'm going to create some variables just to make the visualization of the variables. So I'm going to create an integer variable because I want uh, for temporary unit. So we can select the temperature that we want, and I can define, for example, if it's 0 it should be Celsius, 1 from Fahrenheit. Going to create another one just for the visualization of the Celsius, and another one for the temperature unit underscore Fahrenheit. So based on the value on this one, I'm going to visualize this information that I have. So if I know wrong, the value 0, let me just double check. The value 0 is to visualize. Let me just double check. So if the value is 0, okay, for the visibility of an object, it will allow you to see the display, to see the object. If it's 1, it would hide the object. So we can work on this one. For example, current value, variable, and select the temp unit, okay, just to select. If it's off, I want it to be Celsius, and if it's 1, I'm going to be Fahrenheit. Okay, just an indication. So toggle unit. This is just an example how you can work. So if we go to a script here and select which one we need to select here. When it touch, so it should be when you click on the object, this one, okay? So click, if we go to the object type, screen object, target unit, what we need to check is the actual status of the temp unit, which is located in this object. So if we go to an if, so triggers, operations, values, logic, okay? If we go select if else, and the values should be the variable, and then I need to make the condition over here, comparison here, the variable is the temp unit, and here the constant. So the idea is to visualize one of these temperature, okay, in the HMI. So if we go over here, if the temperature is 0, then we need to change it. Okay, so in order to change this, we need the operations value change, and I want this one to change. Control C, Control V, and move to 1. Okay, another value change, and another value change. So here, so if it's 0, and then I'm going to change to 1, this one should be off, centigrade, and this one should be on, and then the other way around. Okay, if it's 0, this one should be on and this one off. So remember that if we want to hide something, the value should be 1 on the visibility. So I have already checked this. Okay, now we need to assign those variables on the on the visibility. So visibility variable, we need to assign to this one to centigrades, Celsius, and this one for Fahrenheit. Okay, so you can see the variable that you want. And now what we need to do, just to be much better, let's copy this and put it on the global script. Probably this should be in the script, in the global. I'm gonna leave it in here. What I want is to use the tool shells when conditioned target should be the runtime. So when runtime start, based on the value, it will do this. Okay, so let's go to the simulation. Okay, device simulate. Yes. So instead of see those two, just only see one. Okay. I believe this way should be much better. Okay. So just change 125. I don't want to use, I want to use Fahrenheit, and you have this. So just to have an idea, and probably here you will need to change this, okay, um, based on what you have. So basically that's it. Probably this like this, so it doesn't change, and just stick with the one that you have. Okay, simulate once again. Otherwise, it's going to change from the one that you have. Da, 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 zero. I have to change it again, but do get the idea over here. So basically, we have seen why it's important to have these converters. So you can keep in the logic inside the PLC the same calculation and everything that you have in the units that you have. But on the visualization on the HMI side, you can change that, okay? So depend on the machine, where the machine is going to be located, it's going to be much easier to work with the converter, so you can easily change the visualization of the variable, the unit of the variable to visualize on the HMI. That is the main idea of the converter for the unit type. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.